entertainment bullseye every week with her hard riding. Straight shooting. And suspense.
Well, this is the last place on our list.
If you ask me, it's a waste of time stuffing. Matt Peters won't contribute to anything. He's that unneighborly.
Jan's the same way. Studies his head off at school, but stays clear of the other kids, like they're poison.
Maybe they just don't know how to be friendly. Some people are like that, you know. You're wearing that last cookie you just ate, Tagg. Oh, Mrs. Peters, I'm Annie Oakley. And this is Deputy Sheriff Lofty Craig and my brother, Tagg.
We've met before, Miss Peters, but maybe you don't remember.
I remember.
Well, we're collecting money to build a spur track to the railroad at Danville.
The railroad said if we built a track, they'd run their cattle and freight cars over it.
Everybody's chipped in. We thought maybe you and Mr. Peters would like to contribute.
Now, you can see what an advantage it would be to all the ranchers.
Not to us. And there's no use putting money in something you can't use. If my husband were here, he'd say the same thing. Well, if you'll excuse me, I've got a pan of bread in the oven.
What's the matter? We got the measles or something that they won't invite us in?
From all I hear, Tagg, they won't invite anybody in.
If you ask me, Matt Peters acts like a man who's trying to hide something.
Tagg, you stay here. Have you all gone crazy? We're trying to help you, Mr. Peters.
I'm sorry. When you came racing up, I thought you were one in the gang. Last week, they burned my barn. A week before, they ran off a bunch of my cattle. This time, they were making a pass of my horses.
Who are they?
I don't know. This is the first time I've even gotten within shooting distance of them.
It sounds like somebody's trying to run you out.
Yeah. But why?
I don't know that either.
Yeah!
Matt, are you all right?
Sure, I'm fine.
What happened?
Oh, I just had a run-in with a couple of rustlers. They ran off when Miss Annie and Craig showed up. They wouldn't have even tried if you'd been here, would they?
Nah.
Well, we know one thing about these men. One of them wore a Texas-style hat, and the other one either bought or stole his horse from an Indian.
Indian?
He was only riding with a hackamore, and the brand had been blotted.
Well, I'll inquire around and see if any strangers have drifted into town. Now, if I could get my hands on those two birds, we might find out what this is all about.
If Annie Oakley is sticking her nose into this, we'll have to be twice as careful.
You can say that again. I had to steal another horse on account of her.
When a gal can shoot and hit a dime at 50 paces, I don't want any part of it.
You know, boys, this is ruining my digestion. Bless that Peters, I offered to buy his ranch fair and square, and he turned me down. Said he was tired of moving and starting all over again. Of course, I don't like to go against the law, you understand. But that stubborn old fool is forcing me into it. Get out. Get out, get out. Quick, 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 get out. And don't come here again until you hear from me. Why, Annie, and bless my soul if it isn't Tagg. Come in, come in, come in.
If you're busy, Mayor.
Busy? Why, my dear Annie, I'm never too busy to see you. Sit down, sit down.
We thought we heard you talking to somebody.
Huh? Oh, that? Oh, yes. You see, I'm going to make a speech, and I was just rehearsing it. Now, what can I do for you?
Well, here's the money that we collected to put on the spur track. There are a lot of checks and promissory notes, and we'd like for you to take complete charge of it.
Bless my soul. My dear Annie, you overwhelm me. To be chosen custodian of such a worthy fund is indeed an honor. Come in.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll come back later.
We were just leaving. Come along, Tagg.
Yeah, well, goodbye, Annie. Goodbye, Tagg. Come in again sometime. Anytime. It's always a pleasure. A real pleasure.
Jan! Hey, Jan! Look, if your dad's in any kind of trouble, me, Annie, and Lofty like to help. Who says we're in trouble? Well, what else you want to call having your barn burned and your cattle rustled? That's our business, and you keep your nose out of it. I wasn't sticking my nose into it. You were, too. And when we want help, we'll ask for it. My gosh, you're as stubborn as your dad. Don't you say anything about my father. Try it again, I dare you. Stubborn old mule. There's nothing here.
I wish Bill Jennings had taken a better look at those two men he saw riding out of town. Yeah, but he thought they were just a couple of cowhands. Laramie? Why are you sending a telegram to Laramie?
Well, the hat one of them wore, and the boots are the kind they wear in that part of Texas. And that Indian pony bore the brand of the Tonkawas. I just thought there might be a report made on them.
You know, Annie, there are times when I think you ought to be sheriff around here.
Who ever heard of a woman sheriff?
Why, Mayor, what's wrong? You look like the world's come to an end.
Annie, Lofty, I don't know how to tell you this. You know the money you gave me for the spur track? Well, it's gone.
Gone?
You mean somebody swiped it?
I don't know. I just can't find it, that's all. The last time I saw it was when Matt Peters was in my office.
Matt Peters?
Yes. He asked me to tell Mr. Hill at the Danville Bank that he couldn't beat his payment on the mortgage. And then suddenly I was called out of the office. And when I came back, he changed his story. He said he'd send the money on in a few days. Now, I'm not accusing anyone, understand? Only it was right after that that I found the money missing from the drawer of my desk.
I can't believe that Mr. Peters would take it. The money must be mislaid or something.
You better take another look, Mayor. And don't mention anything about this to anybody, or we'll have a riot in our hands.
Oh, no, I won't.
Peters couldn't have taken that money. He didn't even know the mayor had it.
Oh, yes, he did. And he just gave him the money when Mr. Peters walked in. And when we left, the money was lying right there on the desk.
What?
Tagg.
Oh, I said it was laying on the desk.
Now, Lofty, don't go jumping to conclusions. Remember that in this country, a man is innocent until he's proved guilty.
With you around, how could I forget? Just the same, I think I'll ride out and have a little talk with Matt.
Take this to the telegraph office, Tagg.
Well, you better come with me, Annie. In case there is any trouble, Mrs. Peters might need you.
Me and my big mouth.
Oh, remember, Lofty, we've only got the mayor's word for it.
I know.
Saw you riding up. Is there anything I can do for you?
Well, if you don't mind, I'd like to ask you some questions.
Sure. What kind of questions?
Mr. Peters, did you tell the mayor that you'd make a payment on your mortgage in a few days?
Why, no.
We couldn't. We haven't any...
What my wife means to say is we can't make that payment. That is, not unless we get back our stolen cattle. But I don't quite see how that concerns you.
Well, the money that we collected for the spur tract, it's missing.
The mayor seems to think that you were the last one to see it.
The mayor.
Surely you don't suspect. Matt, he didn't take it.
Well, in that case, you don't mind if we look around?
Just a minute. You figuring on arresting me?
I know.
Then I'll thank you to get off my property.
Oh, now look here,
This is a frame-up, and you can tell Warner I'm not taking it lying down.
Now, Mr. Peters, you know that drawing a gun on the law isn't the right thing to do. Come on, Lofty. I'm sorry, Mrs. Peters.
Lofty, wait.
Where do you think you're going?
To make out a warrant. If necessary, blast my way into that house.
Well, for a lawman to shoot his way in without evidence isn't the right thing to do either.
He's hiding something, I tell you. If he isn't guilty, why wouldn't he let us search his house?
I don't know, Lofty, but somehow I just don't think he took the money.
That means the mayor's lying.
Somebody's lying. Also, somebody's got it in from Matt.
What's that? A wire from Laramie.
Well, description answers those of Walt Newman and Mike Edwards. Wanted for cattle rustling and armed robbery.
Well, Newman and Mike Edwards. No wonder we didn't recognize him. These prison pictures make them look like entirely different men. After this, remind me to quit arguing with your hunches.
Well, my hunch didn't tell me where to find them. Unless we can backtrack on those stolen cattle.
You better doctor up the brain on that horse, Mike. The owner could spot it a mile off. Well, if it ain't his honor, the mayor.
Whoa! I brought you some grub.
Good. Is the law put Matt Peters in jail yet?
No, if he were, I'd have the ranch by now.
When are you going to split that railroad money you copped?
Split it. I'll have you know that money was given to me as a sacred trust, and I intend to return every penny of it. You see, I've just mislaid it until I forced Peters to sell. Hear you talk, you think I was a crook.
You sure look like one of Matt Peters.
That's different. That's a personal matter. It has nothing to do with my position as mayor.
3 cheers for his honor.
Don't worry, you'll get all that's coming to you. But not until you've earned it.
We were just getting ready to rustle Peters' horses. Yeah, hiding out on his ranch makes it real handy.
Well, hurry it up. We haven't got much time.
It was Walt Newman and Mike Edwards, all right.
Benson says a fellow wearing a Texas-style hat and a man riding with a hackamore sold him a bunch of cattle.
Did Mr. Benson see which way they were headed?
Yeah, he said they headed back the way they came.
This thing's crowding my pocket. You can have it if you want to. Gee, where'd you get it, Jan? Up on Thunder Hill. Go ahead, take it if you're gonna. Gee, thanks, Jan. That's okay. I didn't want it anyway. There's a lot of old Indian stuff on that hill. You can go scout around if you want to. Gee, would it be all right? Why not? It's on our ranch. If you want to, we can go up there and scout around and maybe play Indian. I'll be Geronimo, and I've captured your horse. And I'll be Cochise, and I've captured yours.
I think we're following the right tracks, Annie. This trail leads to Thunder Hill.
It's a better place to hide than those Indian caves.
Could be. Those Ranahans have plenty of nerve hiding out in Peter's ranch.
I just happened to think. Mom doesn't know where I'm going, and she's liable to worry. Okay, Chief Cochise. Okay, Chief Geronimo. Meet you on Thunder Hill.
That the Peters kid? Sure looks like his horse. This could be the break we've been waiting for. Let's go.
Hey, what's a big idea? I go, well.
Now what do we do with him? Take him into his honor. Maybe he can make a little trade with Peters. The kid for the ranch.
Help! Help!
Those Ranahans.
Oh, they've got Tagg.
Run him, Eddie!
Lock him up, Lofty. We won't be long.
Right.
I tell you, Annie, they thought I was Jan.
Tagg, are you sure they said they were taking Jan to see the mayor?
Sure, I'm sure. They caught him his honor, and they say they'd trade Jan for Mr. Peters' ranch.
Tagg, you go find Jan and his father while I get Mrs. Peters. Then we'll all go back to town and have a talk with the mayor. Mrs. Peters? Mrs. Peters? Mrs. Peters?
Well, now you know why we haven't invited people in. We haven't chairs for them to sit on. Matt was sick almost a year before we came out here, and it took our last cent to make a down payment on the ranch.
Oh, please, Mrs. Peters.
We were just getting back on our feet when we lost our cattle in the barn. But we still had our pride. That was all we did have until you walked in. Now we haven't even that. Go on. Tell everyone how bad off we are. But don't you dare pity us. I couldn't stand being pitied.
Who's pitying you? Do you want to know what I think? I think you and your husband are the most selfish people I've ever met.
Selfish?
Yes, selfish. Why, helping others is the only real pleasure that people get out of life. And you won't even give them a chance.
The person has to have some pride.
I know how you feel. Well, all of the people in this county have been up against it at one time or another, but we've helped each other out. We don't call it helping. It's just being neighborly.
I didn't know. We fought it for so long, alone. I guess I thought it would always be that way.
Mrs. Peters, can you think of any reason why Mayor Warner would want this ranch?
No. Matt says there's no oil or minerals on it, only some old Indian caves and a few relics.
Like this Oya?
Yes, Jan found it.
Hey! We've got to get back to town. Jan says his father's gone gunning for the mayor.
Oh, no. I'll try and stop him. Tagg, you and Jan stay here with Mrs. Peters.
Ladies and gentlemen, friends, it was not my intention to again run for public office. But when overwhelming demand insists for the public good, I am not the one to fail you. What in blazes?
That deputy sheriff's got Walt. He's bringing him to town.
We gotta get to him before he can talk. Oh, my gun. I forgot my gun.
It's a nice frame-up you tried to hang on me, Warner.
Now, wait a minute. I didn't say you took the money. It's all a mistake. I can explain everything. I found it, and I've got it right here in the drawer. Now, take your gun out and drop it to the floor. Come on. Now, back out that door.
Looks like I got here just in time.
I give up. I give up.
Matt's in the mayor's office. Give him a hand. Come on. The mayor's just remembered where he put that money, didn't you, Mayor?
It seems to me I do remember. Yes, I think I put. Oh, yes. Here it is.
The Carter sent this over, Mrs. Peters, and look what the Benson sent.
I don't know what to say. Put the couch right over here, Matt.
All right. Now you can really sit down and take a rest, Martha.
How are we ever going to repay all this kindness?
Well, you don't have to worry about that, Mrs. Peters.
In fact, your troubles are over. I just finished talking to the director of Indian Affairs in Washington. He says that the government wants to buy Thunder Hill.
Thunder Hill?
Well, whatever for?
Well, that's where the ancient Kivas are. And the Indians are threatening an uprising unless the hill is included in the reservation.
So that's why the mayor was so anxious to get a hold of this ranch.
That's it. And he knew that the government was willing to pay plenty for it.
Well, in that case, we can give some of the money to help build that new spur track.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't get it. What's a kiva?
Well, Jan, Kivas are both a council room and a church. And they mean just as much to the Indians as our churches mean to us.
Gosh, I better take this back. This, too. Mr. Benson's wagon just broke an axle. It's down the road.
Tell him I'll be out to help him. And Martha, set another place on the table. I'm going to ask him back for dinner.
Annie Oakley hits the entertainment bullseye every week with her hard riding. Straight shooting. And suspense.
I wonder if you could... Gee, I hate to ask you, but my girl's coming to town. And
Clara? Oh, George, that's wonderful. I've been dying to meet her. Are y'all going to get married right away?
I hope so. But Mr. Maxwell won't let me off to meet her, and... Well, she's a stranger in town, and...
Don't worry about a thing. We'll meet the stage. Oh, how will I know her?
Oh, you can't help but recognize her. She's... Oh, she's so beautiful. She's just right. And in the moonrise...
Gosh, have you got it bad?
Tagg.
Wait till you see Clara. She's got eyes so big, and the lashes are that long, and her teeth are like little grains of corn, all in a row.
White corn or yellow?
Tagg. Don't worry about a thing, George. We'll meet the stage, and I'm sure we won't have a bit of trouble recognizing her. We'll take Lofty along to help.
Oh, thank you, Annie.
Sure. Come on, Tagg.
Wow.
Permit me to introduce myself. My name's Craig, Lofty Craig.
Well, how do you do, Sheriff Craig?
Deputy. Welcome to Diablo.
Oh, that's very kind of you. I'm a stranger in town.
Ah, no, you're not. Now, George has told us all about you.
George?
Hey, George, the bank teller. Well, you are Clara, aren't you?
Oh, no. My name is Lester, Jane Lester.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, that is, I'm glad that...
I wonder if you'd be kind enough to direct me to the hotel.
It's just down the street. I'm going that way. It's very difficult to find.
Gosh, is she beautiful?
You too, Brutus?
Brutus?
Hiya, baby. Right on schedule.
I said I'd be here Saturday. How do things look?
Good. We can start right away. Bank closes at 12 on Saturdays. We got all afternoon to work on the vault.
Since when has it taken me all afternoon to open a simple small-town safe?
This one may not be so simple. It's a new one.
Well, old or new, I haven't seen the safe yet I couldn't open.
George, we met the stage and Clara wasn't on it.
I know, Annie. I just got this letter from her. She isn't coming.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is there anything wrong?
Her mother's trying to break us up.
Well, I think you'd make an awful good catch for some girl, George. You're steady and you've got a good job.
But I haven't got any money.
Money isn't important when you love somebody, George.
It's important to Clara's mother. No, Annie. I'm afraid it's all off. I guess I'll just never marry.
Oh, that's crazy. There are a lot of nice girls in this world, and someday the right one's gonna come along.
No. Clara's the only one for me. I couldn't even look at another girl. I couldn't...
Good morning. I am Henry Maxwell, the president. May I be of service?
Oh, how do you do, Mr. Maxwell? I'm new in Diablo. I'm thinking of opening an account.
Of course. Won't you step this way, Miss...
Jane Lester.
Of course.
Jane Lester. What a beautiful name.
Good luck, George.
Of course, I'd have to assure myself that my money would be safe.
Oh, you need to have no fear on that point, Miss Lester. Do you see that vault?
Oh, is that what it is?
Indeed it is. It's new, and we're quite proud of it.
Oh, my, it is impressive, isn't it?
And it's thoroughly burglar-proof. There isn't a man who could break into this vault.
Oh, I'm sure you're right, Mr. Maxwell, and thank you very much. You'll be hearing from me soon.
Oh, it'll be a great pleasure, my dear.
Well, Mr. Maxwell.
Well?
Well, you see, sir, I need $200.
For what?
Well, I want to get married, and I thought if I could borrow $200 to go to Cottonwood Falls to see Clara's mother.
How could you expect to pay it back on your salary?
Well, I wanted to talk to you about that.
Let's hear no more about it. Just see that those books are balanced before you leave here this afternoon.
Yes, sir. I'll be back in a few minutes.
going over to the bank. Get the back door open. You join me in exactly 10 minutes.
Hold it, mister. Bring out the money.
Yes, sir.
Put it in that bag.
Yes, sir. Tried to stop him.
Well, did you recover the money?
He didn't have any of the money on him. You sure this is the right man?
Of course I'm sure. He hit me and then ran out the back door.
Where's the money? What did you do with it?
I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't any money on me, so how could I rob any bank?
Oh, yes, you did. He's the one, all right.
This is outrageous. This is the worst thing that's ever happened in this town.
Well, it could have been worse, Mr. Maxwell. If it happened next week instead of this week, he'd have gotten the payroll money.
Oh, Miss Lester, this is a pleasant surprise.
I hope you don't think I'm too forward, Sheriff.
Deputy Sheriff, ma'am. And I'm honored. I don't think you're forward at all. I think you're...
So, this is where you work. And that's the jail where you keep the criminals?
Yes, ma'am. That's the man that robbed the bank. Oh, don't be frightened. You're perfectly safe.
Oh, I'm sure I am, Sheriff.
Lofty, ma'am?
Lofty, isn't that a nice name? I was just on my way to have a cup of coffee.
You know, I was just wondering about a cup of coffee myself.
Wouldn't it be fun if we could have it here? I'd stay and watch the office for you.
Would you? It won't take me a couple of minutes.
Joe, in a couple of days, there's going to be a load of money in that vault. It'll make what we got before look like peanuts.
A lot of good that's going to do me in here. Well, I'll only get my hands on that bank clerk to turn me in.
You will. We'll walk out of this town with every nickel they've got in that vault. Oh.
Hold it, or this girl will get a knife in her back.
Don't let him kill me, Lofty.
Drop that gun, Deputy.
Please, Lofty, please drop it.
All right, open this door.
inside, both of you.
On your feet. Well, don't you two look cozy in there? What happened?
He, threatened Jane with a knife.
If it hadn't been for Lofty.
Get inside.
Wait a minute. You said the prisoner threatened you with a knife. Where is it?
Well, I thought he had a
Look,
knife.
Annie, you have to give Jane the 3rd degree. She's upset. She had a pretty frightening experience.
I'm sure she has. I'm sorry.
I'll see you to your hotel.
Thank you, Lofty. Good morning, George. I'd like to make a deposit.
Oh, excuse me, Miss Lester. I'm afraid I wasn't paying attention. I've had some bad news.
Oh, I'm sorry. Someone ill?
Oh, it's worse than that. It's my girl in Cottonwood Falls. Her mother's trying to make her marry someone else.
Why don't you go up there and stop it?
It's not as easy as that, Miss Lester. In the first place, Mr. Maxwell wouldn't let me off.
Well, he needn't know. Cottonwood Falls isn't far. You could leave here after the bank closes and take the stage this afternoon and be back by Monday.
Oh, hell, I wish I could, but... Well, frankly, I don't have the money.
Well, that shouldn't stop you. How much do you need? 300, 500?
Oh, no, Miss Lester. I appreciate it, but I couldn't.
Nonsense. Here's $500. You can pay me interest.
You don't know what this means to me. I'll give you my note for it.
Oh, that won't be necessary.
Oh, yes. It must be perfectly legal.
Ah, Miss Lester. How are you, my dear?
Mr. Maxwell, I've been looking for you. I wanted you to advise me on some investments.
I shall certainly be happy to.
There are also some bonds I'd like you to look at. Perhaps, this evening. Are you free?
Completely.
Well, then why don't we have dinner at the hotel?
An excellent idea. Excellent. About 6?
6 will be fine. Thank you. evening, Mr. Maxwell. Right on time.
I always try to be punctual, my dear.
Oh, for me, aren't they lovely? Won't you sit down?
Thank you.
I just got in myself a little while ago. Oh, by the way, I ran into your cashier. He hasn't resigned from the bank, has he?
George, why no? Why do you ask?
Well, I saw him leaving on the afternoon stage. I guess he's just gone out of town for the weekend.
George leaving town? Surely you're mistaken.
Why, no. I saw him come out of the bank with a traveling bag. He went toward the depot. I'm sure he was on the stage when it left.
Oh, excuse me. I'll come right back. He's robbed me. Go after him. Hurry.
Who? What are you talking about?
George, he's absconded with every dollar. I just came from the bank. The vault was cleaned out.
George, you must be mistaken.
You mean the bank's been robbed again?
I can't believe it.
Who cares what you believe? I tell you, he left on the afternoon stage. Well, what are you going to do? Sit there?
Tagg, run over to the stage depot and find out where George was going.
Sure, Lofty.
I knew that George was a crook. I knew it from the first day I hired him 5 years ago.
Then why did you hire him? There must have been somebody else that robbed the bank.
How could it be anybody else that robbed it? The vault was locked and only George and myself knew the combination.
I'm sure you're not going to need that, Lofty.
Hope you're right, Annie.
Get my money back, Lofty, and there's a $1,000 reward.
I now pronounce you man and wife.
Lofty, how wonderful of you to come.
Hello, George.
Lofty, this is my bride, Clara.
How do you do, man? George, could I speak to you for a minute?
Sure. Well, surely, Lofty, you're joking. Why would I rob a bank?
So that's what you are.
Sorry to have to do this.
Well, how could I rob the bank? How could I?
Shall we go?
George. Oh, George.
All right, let's go, George.
I knew it. I knew the minute you met that man he was no good. Bank robber. Baby.
Sorry you had to get mixed up in this, Jane.
Miss Lester, tell him about the money you loaned me.
Money I loaned you? I don't understand.
But, Miss Lester, you did. I gave you my note for it.
Well, really, this is all news to me. Why, I hardly know this man. I've seen him a few times at the bank, but as for loaning him money...
And I'm convinced that George robbed the bank the first time. Lock him up.
Do you mean the man that's locked up isn't guilty?
He certainly isn't, and I'm going to see that he's released.
Better luck next time, Deputy.
She's gone, Annie. She just left on the stage.
Most of her clothes are still here.
Then she must be coming back.
No, I doubt it, Tagg.
What are you expecting to find?
I don't know, but whatever it isn't here. Well, we might as well go. Tagg, how many times have I... Where did you get this?
In there.
Well, where's the rest of it?
Right here.
Tagg, this is it.
It's what?
It's the note George gave her for $500. It means he was telling the truth and that she was lying.
Gosh, sis, what are we gonna do?
I'm going after that stage. You go find Lofty and tell him.
All right.
Annie was right. This is going to clear you, George.
Lofty, this is one posse I'd like to be in on. Do you think? I mean, could you?
Why not? I reckon it's illegal to leave a prisoner unattended anyway.
Thanks, Lofty.
Spare horse outside.
Driver, pull up.
What's the matter, ma'am?
I'm getting out here.
Here?
That's correct, thank you.
Hey!
Annie?
Where's the woman passenger you had?
Well, she got off back at Dry Gulch.
Dry Gulch?
Don't ask me why.
Thanks.
This horse is going to give out riding double. One of us has got to get off.
Well, don't look at me.
It's Annie Oakley. She spotted us. Let's run for cover.
You might as well give yourselves up. You haven't got a chance.
I've only got one shell left in this gun.
Well, you better make that one count.
Annie, we'll make a deal with you. We got $60,000 here. We'll split it with you.
I want all of it. And both of you with your hands up. Give me that. Stay back, Lofty.
Nice work, Annie.
Thanks, Lofty. All right, where's the money?
Back of the tree.
Wait a minute, Lofty. You get it, George. Give it to Lofty.
All right, let's go.
You and Annie did a magnificent job.
Well, thank you, Mr. Maxwell. If I remember right now, you mentioned something about a $1,000 reward for the recovery of the bank money?
Well, yes, I did, Lofty, but I've learned that as a peace officer, you're not permitted to accept a reward.
Well, that's right, Mr. Maxwell, but Lofty didn't recover the money. George did.
George?
That's right. George recovered the money and gave it to Lofty, didn't he, Lofty?
That's right.
Well, it was worth it to get the money back. You come and see me, young man, and we'll discuss the possibility of you getting your job back.
Oh, really, Mr. Maxwell?
Yeah.
Just a minute, George. Mr. Maxwell, I have considerable money myself. Enough with George's $1,000 for us to start a bank of our own.
Bullseye! Annie Oakley hits the entertainment bullseye every week with her hard riding. Straight shooting. And suspense.
I remembered, Annie. I was way out in Bear Canyon, and all of a sudden, I remembered.
Remembered what?
That today was the day that you promised to bake those chocolate walnut cookies for me.
Not for you, Lofty. They're for Tagg.
Oh, Annie. No, Annie, I think you're spoiling that kid brother of yours.
Oh, and I'm not spoiling you, is that it?
Why, you couldn't spoil me. Why, I thrive in attention, affection, and your delicious cookies.
Well, all right. You may have two.
Only two?
Well, I don't want to spoil that waistline of yours.
Annie, I'm positively skinny. Like a mosquito, look.
It's more like a honeybee to me.
Honeybee? You're a honeybee?
Oh, Lofty, you're more of a problem than Tagg. Say, maybe I am spoiling him. You know, his school grades have been pretty bad this term.
It's spring. Besides, he's having a lot of fun now that he and David Malloy have become such pals.
Yes, I know, but David doesn't get along well at all in school. Of course, David doesn't have any father. And Tagg doesn't have any father or mother.
You more than make up for that, Annie. Why, you're as good a mother to him as you are a sister.
Thanks, Lofty. I do wish David and Tagg would pay more attention to their schoolwork, though.
Oh, I think they do. I bet they're both slaving over a hot school desk right now.
Davy? Where are you, Davy? Hold it! Somebody's coming! Hey, wasn't that your mom with my sister? Yeah, I guess she hitched a ride from town. Oh, I thought she was looking for you or something. You mean more trouble? You never know about women. They're always worrying. As long as they do the worrying, we don't have to. Come on, let's swim. Hey, we better be getting back to school. Mr. Prince doesn't like you very much, and you don't want to make it worse. Yeah, I guess you're right.
Thanks for the lift, Annie. Oh, wait, I'll give you a hand.
You know, Mrs. Malloy, it's amazing how well you and Davy have managed these past few years.
It's been a tough struggle. Being a widow woman is bad enough. But when you've got a growing son in need of a father... Oh, by the way, has Tagg mentioned anything about the trouble Davy's been having in school?
Well, he did say something about Davy and Mr. Prince not getting along, but, oh, they probably just rub each other the wrong way.
Well, thanks again, Annie.
You're welcome.
Gee, it sounds like it's coming from your house. We better go see.
You scared me.
Sorry, I heard the shots. What's wrong?
The Prowler, he just rode off.
Well, did you get a look at him?
He was too far away.
I'll check outside.
What's the matter, Ma? You all right?
If I get one more scare this afternoon.
We heard shooting, Annie. What's the trouble?
And where did you hear the shooting, Tagg Oakley? From school?
We weren't playing hooky. We were on our way back to school.
On your way back? Just why did you leave in the first place?
It was lunchtime. We got an hour off. You know that, Ma.
You're supposed to eat lunch on the school grounds.
Oh, it was so hot. We figured it'd be cooler down by the stream.
Oh, I see. And I suppose a big black bear came along and pushed you both in while you were sitting there. Is that it?
Oh, Annie, we just want to know what's going on.
I'll tell you what's going on. You are, both of you, right now, right back to school. Now get.
You heard what Annie said. Get.
Guess we better go.
You think we should have written excuses for them?
No. They've got to learn to assume responsibility for their own decisions.
You're right.
Did the Prowler take anything?
Yes, my strong box.
How much money?
None at all, just my papers. Deed to the property, insurance, land title, and stuff like that.
Why would they want anything like that?
Well, it beats me.
Say, we'd better get this place straightened up.
Oh, I don't want to put you out.
It's no bother. I was just going over to the Smith's place to see the new baby. That can wait.
There we are. Now, if Robert will please come forward and show us how you... Never mind, Robert. I shall be gone for just a few minutes. I want absolute silence during my absence. This is just what we want, Bart. This will give us a way to force her out.
You know, there's still a record of those titles and deeds in the courthouse.
Yes, we'll take care of that over the weekend.
Isn't that a little risky?
For what we're after, it's worth the risk.
All right, Professor.
And don't worry about the widow getting sympathy when you contest her legal rights. I'll have her boy in so much trouble. By then, she won't want to fight.
Hey, Mr. Prince is putting some into the well. Maybe he's keeping something cold. Mom always keeps a crock of milk that way.
On your feet, David Malloy.
Yes, sir.
Did you enjoy a leisurely lunch?
Yes, sir. I mean, I guess I did, sir.
You know the penalty for being late?
Yes, sir.
Step forward.
Stop it, sir. You can't do that. It isn't fair.
What was that, Tagg?
I was with Davy at lunchtime. If he's to be whipped, then I am too.
I fail to follow your logic. This boy's been the ringleader of trouble in this school for a long time. If you were tardy, it was only because of his bad influence. Now sit down and mind your own business. I've had about enough of you, David Malloy. I assure you I shall do everything I can to have you removed from this school and placed in a reformatory.
Lofty.
Oh, hi, Annie. I was looking all over for you.
I'll just bet you were.
Honestly. When I couldn't find you, well, I was just...
You were just so hungry that you had to eat some of my cookies to keep from fainting.
That's right, Annie. Well, not exactly fainting, but I was feeling awful empty. And your cookies are so good, so delicious, so nourishing.
And you're so large for such a small boy.
I didn't think you'd mind if I had one.
One?
Oh, I guess it kind of stuck to my fingers. Yeah, I was looking for you, though. See? Here's the paper.
Thanks. Hey, Lofty, look at this.
Special school board meeting. At the request of teacher D.A. Prince, the school board is holding a special meeting today to consider the case of David Malloy.
If you want me, Annie, I'll be down the street playing marbles.
Oh, Tagg, I want to talk to you a minute. Lofty and I have been hearing things about the school.
About Davy Malloy and the teacher, to be exact. Just how bad is Davy?
He's no better than I am.
You mean worse than I am, Tagg.
I mean, I'm just as worse as him. When he was switched for being late yesterday, I should have been switched too, because I was with him.
Yes, I know.
Well, why should Mr. Prince punish Davy and not you?
Guess he just doesn't like him, that's all.
Well, I'd sure hate to be disliked by him.
Mr. Prince met with the Board of Education this morning. He talked him into sending Davy away to reform school.
But Davy's my best friend.
I know it, Tagg. I'd sooner face a stampede than bring him in.
Yeah.
Run along, Tagg. I'm sorry I asked you about Davy now. It makes us feel even worse.
Might as well get it over with.
Do you mind if I come along, Lofty?
Thanks, Anne.
Thanks for warning us, Tagg.
Well, Dave's my best friend. I don't care what anybody thinks. He's getting a bad deal.
Where will you boys stay?
We'll be in Red Rock Cave, down there by the stream.
Well, be careful.
The Board of Education issued a writ, Bart. Let's ride over to the widow's place to make sure the sheriff gets the kid.
Just a warning, Deputy. Go away.
You know what we've come for?
I do.
Did Tagg tell you?
Let's say a friendly bird told me.
You and the boy come into town. I'm sure we can work this out.
That's right, Mrs. Malloy. Public sympathy's bound to be on your side.
I'm not so sure. That Eastern school teacher's got everybody moonstruck.
I'm asking you to be reasonable, ma'am.
No woman is reasonable when she's losing her son. Now go.
I can't make war against widows and kids. If it means handing in my badge, I'll hand it in.
You won't have to, Lofty. We'll just tell the Board of Education that we couldn't find Davy.
Gone off without the kid.
That ought to cinch the case against the boy. Meet me at the well at 4. We better go after those court records tonight.
I didn't shoot you, sir. Honest, I didn't.
I know you didn't. But you better get Davy.
But you don't think he did it, do you?
That doesn't matter. It's what others are going to think.
Well, Tagg's with him.
I'll take care of that later. Right now, I want to get Lofty to a doctor. Feeling better, Lofty?
Sure, Annie. Doc says I'll be up and around right away.
Oh, that's wonderful. You know, the more I think about it, the more I believe that somebody's after your property.
Well, what would anyone want with that old dirt farm?
Has anybody made you an offer?
Why, yes, my neighbor, Bart Stacy.
What'd you tell him?
Well, I told him I was saving the property for my boy. Wouldn't sell under any circumstances.
Well, it's about time. Where have you been anyhow, Tagg? No, don't answer that. I wouldn't want you to lie to me.
Gee, what happened to Lofty?
He was shot over at Malloy's place this afternoon.
Gosh, that must have been the shots I heard. Do you know who did it?
No, we're not quite sure, Tagg, but a lot of people might have good reason to think it was Davy.
It couldn't have been. He was with... it could have been Bart Stacy. He came riding down the creek real fast from the Malloy place, right after the shots. Gee, I'm hungry. Got anything to eat?
There's some things in the icebox. Make yourself some sandwiches.
While I was gone. Lofty's been shot. Killed? No, just wounded. He's up and around. But who did it? Remember we saw Bart Stacy riding down the creek this afternoon? Well, I think he did. Because when I was making a sandwich, I heard your mom say he wanted to buy the farm. Now, I guess you couldn't expect no good from Stacy. Seeing who he's friends with. What do you mean, who he's friends with? You remember yesterday back in the schoolhouse? He was talking with the teacher. Yeah. And right after that, Mr. Prince put something into the well. Are you thinking the same thing I'm thinking? I guess so. I'm thinking I wonder what's in that well. Yeah. Can't see more than a couple of feet in this thing. Do you think you can lower me down on the bucket? If you're game, I sure am. All right. Can you manage? Sure. All right, lower away. Far enough? Keep going. Hold it! You find something? Yeah, a tin box. See anything? Can hardly see you. Pull me up, will you? Keep quiet, Tagg. Somebody's coming.
I just got in from town. They got the widow, but the boy's still out.
Good. What about the courthouse?
Just like you figured. No one around on Saturday.
If we can get those records tonight, you can start action Monday morning by making her another offer.
Suppose she still refuses.
Then we'll point out she has no legal claim. That the county will take her land and put it up for public auction. She figures out she's bound to lose the property. She'll sell.
Yeah, she's more worried about her boy.
Once we got the property, I'll turn big-hearted and drop charges against the boy.
Wait. Did you hear a horse?
Don't let your nerves get the better of you, Stacy. Come along.
You still there? Where do you think I'm being, Duke? Pull me up. I gotta get to Annie Oakley.
Here it is. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, this place gives me the creeps.
Hold it, you two. Stay where you are.
Nice shooting, Annie.
Tagg, Oakley, I thought I told you to stay in that office. Now get on back there before you get hurt.
But Annie.
Go on.
All right.
Ready for the horses.
Think you're safe there, Mr. Prince?
Let's see you come and get me out.
this next one so it'll just part your hair. Now, I'm pretty sure I can place this one right in the middle of your forehead.
All right, Miss Oakley. I'll concede the point.
Thank you, Mr. Prince. Now, toss your gun out first.
It's all right, Annie. I got the other one. If you have a master's degree as a mining engineer, what were you doing teaching in a country school?
I got into trouble back east.
What kind of trouble?
Same thing. Trying to make a fortune fast.
Are we gonna be rich, Ma?
That's right, David. That cave on your property is loaded with cinnabar.
What's cinnabar, Mr. Prince?
It's a red mercury sulfide, the chief ore from which quicksilver is extracted.
You sure went to a lot of trouble to get it.
It was worth it, sir. Properly exploited, there's no end. Why go on? Lock me up.
Well, there's one comfort anyhow. At least you're not a teacher by profession. I'd sure hate to think of our younger generation being in the hands of people like you.
Oh.
Say, after such a hard day's work, you two kids ought to be tired.
We know. It's time to go to bed.
We're going to church early tomorrow morning and thank the Lord for our good fortune.
All right, Ma. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, Sandy.
Good night, Tagg.
We sure had the makings of two fine men there, don't we?
We sure do.